Okay. It's okay. We just got the news yesterday, and I got to give you my thoughts on Saquon Barkley will not be playing and dressing up on Sunday to break Eric Dickerson's record, and a lot of news regarding roster moves. A Philadelphia Eagle going to IR, which gives another player big opportunities, and the Green Bay Packers are dealing with a huge loss to their secondary, if that is the team we are facing in the playoffs in our first matchup. Let's get into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today, and this video is sponsored by BetUS, so go check them out. Okay, now, first bit of news I want to go over, whether fans are rejoicing and that are happy about this, or fans like me that are kind of like, it's just the Saquon Barkley, the whole thing that's been going on, breaking the record, not breaking the record. So Nick... And this was from Saquon Barkley. Okay, Nick came to his press conference and pretty much said the other day that he will be resting. He will be resting on Sunday. He said probably. I don't know why he just says he's going to be out. He said probably. Okay, Saquon Barkley had a press conference in the locker room. Okay, and he said pretty much like he talked to Nick, and then the next day he woke up. He talked to Nick again. Saquon woke up the next day pretty much telling Nick, yes, I do want to break this record. His family wanted it. I know from watching the way he was talking in this little presser of the locker room, he wanted this so bad. Okay. Nick did ask Saquon what he wanted to do the first day they talked. The next day, that was pretty much where Saquon was like, hey, I want to break the record. And Nick said, you know what? Can't do that. So Saquon was kind of like, I'm glad that someone made the decision for me. I understand what the more importance is when it comes to the Super Bowl, when it comes to in the playoffs, me being healthy. I completely get it. He knows he could break this record. We know he could break this record. And by the way he was just talking in this presser in the locker room, he totally was so upset about it. And I know it's eating at him. Is Nick Sirianni robbing him of something greater in his career? This is big. This is, you know what I mean? This is something that his teammates are going to remember. His last name will be, regarded on the top of, rushing leaderboards in the NFL for years to come that somebody won't break. Maybe somebody will break it later on, but not for a long time. Okay. And he was really, I could tell he was really upset over it. I could tell he was just like, it was nagging at him that, you know what I mean? This would have been so good just to, you break this record. And guys, like, we're not talking about a quarter, a half. I completely get it. And then there's people out there that say, oh, well, he can get it next year. Well, we don't know what's going to happen next year. You got to take advantage of the situation. That's just me. This is my opinion. I get people will not, rejoice with me about it. There are going to be people that are against it. And I am open to everybody's opinions. Like, if they don't play him Sunday, it is what it is. Like, I'll get over it. It's no big deal. But I think this would have been a nice little, to break this record, to get into the playoffs, to kind of add more to the motivation. I think it would be such a more big of a motivator going into the playoffs, breaking Eric Dickerson's record. Okay, so Nick totally overruled. We don't know if it's just Nick. Was it Jeffrey Lurie? Is it Howie Roseman? Was it joint between the head coach and obviously the GM and the ownership of the Philadelphia Eagles? We have no idea. Most likely, they had a big talk upstairs about it, called Saquon back the next day, and Saquon was already ready to say, hey, I'm ready to break this record. Nick overrided him, and that was pretty much it. So a lot of Eagle fans right now are saying, man, if we don't do anything in the playoffs, then something happens, and Nick Sirianni robbed Saquon of this moment that he could have had in his career. Do I think it's right for the head coach to do that? he's the head coach. He could do whatever he wants. Okay. I might be a little bit upset about it, but, we have something more important to go after. But I have been greedy all week, and I don't think it's really greed. I think it's just something that he really deserves. Okay. And just from all the comments from Eric Dickerson, I kind of want to shut him up and like let him break this record just for it. Look, if he gets nothing in a quarter, I would just pull him out. You know what I mean? If he doesn't do enough in a quarter, I would just pull him out of the game. But if you start Saquon Barkley on the field on Sunday at 1 o'clock versus the New York Giants at home, you have to play your offensive line. You have to play your receivers. So if you haven't watched this little presser that he had, it was eating at him. And it's not like the first Giants game he played where he was like, 15, 13 yards away from his all-time high rushing in game. And he asked, Nick asked Saquon on the sideline, you want to go for it? And he said, no, let the young guys eat. You know what I mean? So, that's early in the season. That's totally different than what this is. You know what I mean? I feel it's like this. Like, any player can get hurt at practice. Any player can get hurt any game of the season. If you rest guys today, it doesn't mean that they can't get hurt the first playoff game. Like, that's where I'm at with this whole thing. I can walk outside right now and walk across the street to get to my truck and get hit by a car. Like, it's uncontrollable. Like, these things just happen. So I feel really, I'm not mad at the decision, maybe a little bit, but I'm more feeling bad for Saquon, because if the player really wants it, this isn't breaking a rushing record this isn't Eagles related records. This is an NFL record that he is so close. The biggest mistake they friggin' made, which still pisses me off till this day, is they sat him in that fourth quarter against the Cowboys. They sat him that whole entire fourth quarter, and he thought he was going back in the game. He was already ready to get back into the game in the fourth quarter. Like, why did they sit him the entire fourth quarter? You know what I mean? I don't know. For me, to me, it made no sense. At least if you put him in for a few more plays, probably would have had another 20, 30 yards, and then the record would have been down to 50, 60 yards, maybe. You know what I mean? And then this probably wouldn't have been a nightmarish. I mean, who knows if the number was a lot lower, if Nick would have let him play. But if you listen to this presser, he was just, I could tell it was eating him up, and his family wanted it more than I do. I know he wants it. Behind the scene, he's not going to tell the reporters, well, I want it, but Nick doesn't want it to happen. Like, pretty much that's pretty much what had happened on this phone call, the meeting, whatever happened on the second day they reconnected and talked about it. Yeah, that's where I'm pretty much at. And I feel really bad for him. And I'm not mad at Nick, but I get it. I kind of want to play some of the starters. You got to play some guys. You can't rest everybody, but you got to play some guys. So, I get it. Injuries, I get all that, but I feel really bad for him. I really hope that doing this, the Eagles, they have to win it all if they don't get this. They got to win it all, because this was big for him in his career, and I think he deserved to do it. Or at least, look, just put him on the field for a year. I mean, something. I mean, I don't even care what it is. If the run game's going well, then great. Put him in sporadically throughout the game in the first half. I don't care how they do it, But it's unfortunate, man, and it really sucks. I was going to wear his jersey on Sunday and really just, But then Nick goes into his press conference, and he's like, Saquon's going to sit out, probably going to sit out. Why don't you just say he's going to sit out? I don't get it. So I'm very upset about it. For Saquon, I'm upset about it. For the nature of the team, I'll get over it. It is what it is. That's where we're at with the Saquon record. And, you never know when you're going to get this opportunity again. He's on the Eagles for another year. He's got a contract. He's got an option year, his third year. But he'll just get it next year. It's not that easy to do that. Like, look, if a guy gets 2,000 yards 2 times in a row, I mean, that's pretty amazing, but it's unfortunate though. So we did get the Wednesday injury report. Wednesday was a walkthrough. Okay, so these are the players that did not practice: Saquon, Mekhi Becton, A.J. Brown, Dickerson, Hertz, in concussion, still in concussion protocol. Okay, still in concussion protocol. Lane Johnson, Kenny Pickett, Darius Slade, Devontae Smith, Josh Sweat, and the light practice rest guys that did a little bit of work, but not too much. Zach Baun, Reed, Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Cam Jurgens, Jordan Mailata, Quinyon Mitchell, Will Shipley, Nolan Smith. Okay, you're gonna get Will Shipley back. It looks like so. It looks like he could be on his way back. After this week, most likely. And full practice. Nakobe Dean is back at full practice with the abdomen, which I don't think is a serious injury. The doctors have said it wasn't serious, so that's good. Definitely missing a beat. With Nakobe Dean not being on the field, and obviously Bryce Huff at a full practice. So he's just getting more healthy. I know he had that shoulder injury, I think, on the second play of the game last week against the Cowboys, and he came back in. And he actually didn't do a bad job, so we'll see more of him. Dallas Goedert is now on the active roster, which is great. He is on. They have opened the practice window. Sorry, he does not count against the roster right now. So Dallas Goedert is now starting to practice. They will not activate him until the playoff game, a couple days before the playoff game. So he is going to be back sooner. Obviously he will not play this week. He is on open practice, not counting towards the roster. So, we're going to have him back. Calcaterra's done a fantastic job. Goddard's got to stay healthy throughout the playoffs, and hopefully see some good things from him with his second time coming back off an injury this season. Now, Jaylen Herz, right? We talked, Kenny Pickett with the ribs. I don't know what's going on with him at this point. If they even want to play Pickett in this game this Sunday against the Giants, I'm already kind of nervous. If you want to see me be nervous, this is what I'm really nervous about. Okay, it's already enough that you're sitting almost everybody. Okay, but you're going to be sitting out a quarterback that has 21 days of rest. That's a lot. That's a lot of time. 21 days of rest, and then you're going to have another week of practice before the playoffs. Okay, it just makes me a little nervous because we've been on these stits where guys, get injured. Guys have concussions or guys are in protocol or something like that. They take too much time off because they're not out of the protocol, obviously, and he's still on the protocol. So this concussion must have been really bad. Okay, it looks like Tanner McKee will be ready, and by the way he sounds, it looks like he will be starting in this game versus the New York Giants. And hey, look, I don't mind seeing more McKee, but I really wanted Hertz to play, man. This is the one thing I'm going to be nervous about. He's going to be rusty as fuck. It's going to be rusty, man. I mean, come on now. Don't tell me he's not going to be. Practice is practice at the end of the day. Game-like environment is mentally you're in a different place when you're in a game than when you're in practice running an offense, okay? It's totally different. I hope I'm wrong. I just get worried about things like this with Jaylen Hertz taking too much time, to come back from, look, if he's on protocol throughout the week, then it's not his fault. Then he hasn't passed protocol, then it's not on him. It's just, this concussion is bad. Guys, I don't blame players for getting concussions. It happens. It's naturally happening. So, it sucks. They really want him to play this week. At least a series, 5. I mean, I don't care what it is. 4 play. I don't even care what it is at this point. Okay, just it just sucks, man. I don't know. This one makes me a little nervous at times, but hopefully with some practice under his belt and hopefully there's no rust going into this playoff game. The last thing he needs is for us to go play from behind in a game and then showing up later on where it's too late. So I'm hoping that's not the case. Now, talking about IR at the fullback position, it looks like tight end, the big veteran tight end, CJUSA is now on injured reserve, is going to be out the rest of the year. I don't know when he got hurt. I'm guessing he got hurt in the game last week, or maybe it was practice. I don't know. I haven't heard anything else on that with CJUSA. Now, remember, they had obviously Ben Van Sermon as the fullback in the beginning, and I can't wait for the future of Ben Van Sermon. If he's not getting enough, he's got a lot of competition at linebacker in front of him. They put him at fullback, and they threw one pass to him this year, and they're doing a lot of things with him. So I mean, he's an athletic freak from undrafted from Michigan State. So I really like Ben Van Sermon a lot, and can't wait till he comes back next year. They did sign Kari Blasingame like a few weeks ago or whatever it was. They activated him the last few weeks. He hasn't even played a snap. I don't even think he's even played a snap as a fullback as of right now. So now it's CJUSA out of the mix, and Ben Van Simmeren gone. Mostly they were trying to use Calcaterra at fullback at one point, and obviously they could still do that. but we know his blocking skills aren't perfection. So you're looking for Kari Blasingame. That's been kind of sitting on his ass since October 21st, when the Eagles actually signed him off the couch pretty much. This is an actual fullback that you have that's played for a few teams. So I would like to see the new kid go out there, do some things, help the run game a little bit. We'll see if he's activated this week, and we'll see some playing time from him. So we'll see what happens. Now, on the playoff front, okay, this is interesting. Now, obviously, we have to wait until Washington and Dallas plays on Sunday. Washington wins that game. The Eagles face the Packers. Washington loses. The Eagles get a third shot at the Washington Commanders, which I would absolutely love. But if we are facing the Green Bay Packers, it looks like their secondary took a big hit with Jair Alexander is out with a PCL tear, which I just saw the other day. Obviously, we did a pretty good job against him the first time. I thought AJ did a fantastic job against him, but he's one of the better guys in the secondary. Is out, is out for the year now, and this is a big time player for their defense that's going to be out. So obviously their secondary, I don't know who their backups are over there, but losing him, it's definitely a big one, for these receivers. So hopefully should open up a little bit more, and we'll see what happens. But there's your injury for the Green Bay Packers. This just came up the other day, and that's really it, guys. I'm worried about just resting so many guys, and I get it. Like, even if you rest these guys for a game, like, it's overnight. Like, even Lane Johnson said this in the post at a locker room press conference after the walkthrough practice on Wednesday. He said, we're not going to heal overnight. It's not going to happen. I mean, it helps, but it doesn't help by a lot that everyone thinks it helps, being off an entire week. So I understand the Eagles haven't had a bye week or haven't had time off since really week 5 of the NFL season, early bye week, which I couldn't stand it. So when it comes to Hertz not playing 3 straight weeks, game time reps at least. And then Saquon Barkley, as bad as I want him to break this, because he looks like it's just bothering him so much, and Nick totally override this. I don't know if Nick's going to get a lot of respect. If the Eagles lose in the playoffs, if they do, and I hope they don't, I think a lot of fans are going to be pissed off at Nick even more that they just didn't let him, break the 101 yards that he needed. And, I don't blame those fans, because if, he wanted to ask Saquon what he wanted to do, and he said, I want to break it. And he's like, okay. And then the next day he called, and he's like, no, we're not doing it. So that's where we're at, man. I feel it's not towards Nick, it's towards the player because Saquon deserves it, all the shit he's been through with the New York Giants, and kind of, he had a lot of pressure on him this year going to a new team, rival team of his old team, a lot of expectations for this run game this season, and look what he's done, over 2,000 yards, and could be doing so much more. And that's where I'm at. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about the Saquon Barkley stuff that's going on. Do you blame Nick? Do you think he's holding Saquon back? Or do you think the Eagles are playing it safe and they're doing the right thing? I'm open to everybody's opinions. For me personally, I think they should have broke it. And that's just me at the end of the day. So that's where I'm at. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And make sure you like the video, because it helps out tremendously. Appreciate all the support. And playoff time is coming. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, follow side. Peace out, guys. Peace.